As we take a breath in and exhale, we're breathing in that life force, the life force of God that flows effortlessly through our bodies. We feel that deep sense of spirituality, knowing that God created us in its image and likeness. We are creators. We are unique. We are these special individuals coming together to create a world with beauty and grace and love. And I know that you are the creator, you're a decision maker, and the purveyor of whatever you set out to create. Your creativity has a unique signature. For all that came before you and all that comes after, there will be only you in the here and now. You are special. Whatever you feel called to create, it has chosen you to be its creator. It has chosen you to bring it to life. From mere concept to a tangible creation in this time-based reality. Don't you see that you have already been chosen, and that creative energy is just waiting for you to direct it, whatever way you see fit? It knows that you are the only one to bring it to life. The only one way that you imagined it to be. And as you pursue creativity, your inspiration will heighten the flow of more ideas to come forth to you. New ideas will form all the time. It is up to you to catch it and to make use of it. Any blocks or hindrances are only illusions of the mind. How can you be blocked when you have an unlimited stream of energy available to you at all times? Clarity arises in the midst of the process, in the midst of doing. At times, we wait for clarity, and yet we become stuck. Because we must start imperfectly, start messy without a plan, and start creating and let the process unfold. Let the plan reveal itself to you, step by step. There is no one way to creativity. It is a path with many avenues, turns, and destinations. You get to choose. You are its one and only creator. So become a creator, become a decision maker, become the purveyor of whatever you set out to create. Do not let anything stand in your way. because your creativity has this unique signature. You are created in the image and likeness of God. We come together as a community to create together, to form this beautiful unfolding of life before us. Do not limit yourself. Start out messy, start out with imperfection, and create something magnificent. For you are this unique, creative individual. And God has chosen you. And so it is.
Keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real with Reverend Laura. Keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real with Reverend Laura.
This is Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas. At CSL Greater Las Vegas, it is our mission to inspire spiritual discovery through community connection, exploration, and celebration. This mission supports the all-inclusive vision of Centers for Spiritual Living worldwide, in which we envision a world that works for everyone and all of creation. Before we begin this celebration service, let's all join in and sing our opening song together.
I woke up to a light bulb. Every little thing is possible.
morning, spiritual family. Thank you for tuning in to this broadcast. Right here and right now, we are together in the power of the presence. So wherever you are experiencing today's service, know that we are one at Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas. Throughout this service, if you feel a need for prayer, a prayer and a blessing for you, a family member, or a friend, then please go to our website and select our prayer request. Know that licensed spiritual practitioners are deeply committed to supporting you through prayer. We are here for you. Please feel free to call on us. As a matter of fact, even as I speak, 2 practitioners are providing spiritual support right now for you, for me, and for our entire community. They're holding us in deep spiritual loving care from their homes by sitting in meditation during this service. We thank Justin Vogel and Lynn Frankenberger for holding a high watch for each one of us today. Now is the time for our weekly affirmation. We do this to add positivity, gratitude, and inspire a purpose-driven life for ourselves. If affirmations work for you, let us know. Now let's read this week's affirmation together. The love and creativity of Spirit expresses itself through me into the world. The love and creativity of Spirit expresses itself through me into the world.
God is, I am right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am. God is, I am right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am.
Right here and right now, there is an invitation to step through that doorway to your soul, to open up and be willing to receive God's blessing, to receive God's message, to be willing to accept that God is and I am, to listen to the message, to Spirit's words speaking through Reverend Laura, to hear the music, to feel the vibration of this moment, that God is right where we are. So we celebrate this day. We celebrate that we are a community of love and peace and compassion, that we welcome each individual. For we are a community of many, but we are the voice of one. And we are these creative individuals expressing uniquely as ourselves. We are the creators of our own destiny, painting a picture of love and beauty. So right now, I sit in the deepest sense of gratitude for knowing that this is perfect. It is unfolding as a beautiful celebration of life and love. So again, I say simply thank you. as we open up and we open our arms willingly to receive. And so it is.
God is, I am right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am.
Finding myself at a loss for words, and the funny thing is, that's okay. The last thing I need is to be heard, but to hear what you've been saying. Word of God speaks, pour down like rain, washing these eyes to see your majesty, to be still and know that you're in this place. Please let me stay and rest in your holiness. Word of God speaks. Finding myself in the midst of you, beyond the music, beyond the noise. All that I need is to be with you in the quiet. I hear your voice, word of God speaks. Pour down like rain, washing these eyes to see your majesty, to be still and know that you're in this place. Please let me stay and rest in your holiness. Word of God speaks when you pour down like rain, washing these eyes to see your majesty, to be still and know you're in this place. Please let me stay and rest in your holiness. I'm finding myself at a loss for words, and the funny thing is, that's okay.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Sunday morning celebration service. My name is Reverend Laura Hallett, and it is my pleasure to be the spiritual leader of the Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas, located here in Southern Nevada. I want to thank you all for joining us live this morning. Thank you for getting up, grabbing your coffee, tuning in, and connecting in consciousness with us as we broadcast this service. During our time together, we'd love to hear from you, so if you would, take a moment and check in on our chat. And if you have any comments throughout the service, please feel free to share those. And for those of you that are viewing us this service later on today or at some other time, thank you for spending a bit of your day with us too. You know, our YouTube views continue to steadily increase, and we know that we are making an impact in the world. And so we appreciate knowing that you are out there watching us through all of the different offerings that we have on our YouTube channel. Here at Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas, we practice a philosophy that is rooted in the ancient Judeo-Christian teachings. It's inclusive of today's scientific knowledge and most of the world's spiritual traditions. We are where science and spirituality meet. We are a heart and wisdom-centered community that is committed to creating a world that works for all through our actions, through our words, and through the consciousness of love that we embody. We embrace and practice diversity, equity, inclusivity. We value and teach spiritual practices such as meditation, prayer, study, contemplation, and service to others. And we welcome all who seek a deeper experience and conscious union with that indwelling presence, which is often referred to as spirit, God, love, or even the universe. Before we get into this morning's talk, I'd like to remind everyone that we have secured a beautiful location to hold our weekly services in person for our community. We are so excited about being able to be back in person each and every week. The place where we'll be meeting is centrally located in the valley near Sahara and Valley View Boulevards. We'll be using the events center at the Las Vegas Meadows 55 plus community. All the details are being sent to you in our weekly e-blast and will be posted on our website. Our in-person services will begin next Sunday on March 5th. Our morning meditation will begin at 9:30, and of course our service starts at 10 o'clock. Our plan is to continue to live stream both the meditation and the service, and we will continue to broadcast all of our services on our YouTube channel for you to watch at a later time. For those of you that are unable to attend in person, you have lots of options to staying connected with us. So our theme for this year is building a community. And each month we are looking at a different quality that is essential in the well-being of any functional community. So for the month of January, we focused on freedom. And in February, we have been working with the ideas of creativity as it relates to all the various aspects of building a community. Our topic for each month is anchored in one of the principles from our philosophy. Usually it's something written by our founder, Ernest Holmes. This month's principle comes from one of his most popular books. It's the one I always recommended, This Thing Called You. Ernest Holmes says, "You exist that divine feeling, fire, imagination, and creativity may be expressed through you. The Spirit comes to you with a new and fresh creativity. You need not ask what others have done or how they have done it. Be yourself and express life as you find it. Never imitate. Trust the self. Find the self in God and the God in the self." So this week we are looking at how creativity shows up in our world work. The work we have of manifesting the vision of Centers for Spiritual Living, which is to create that world that works for everyone and all of creation. And so as we all know, our world has been under the grip of a global pandemic for the last 3 years. In fact, it is this time 3 years ago when our world began to shut down, where people were forced to isolate, where the streets were empty, and the shelves in the stores were barren. I think it's important that we sometimes take a moment and pause to reflect on everything that we've been through in the last 3 years, and on the amazing resilience of our human species to adapt, to face a crisis and meet it head on, and to find a vein of strength we probably didn't even know that existed within each and every one of us. The pandemic affected us in similar ways, but I would venture to say that our experience of it was unique to each and every one of us. You know, I loved all the different creative ways people found to come together over the distances, through online chats, through Zoom calls, through FaceTime, Skype, all different computer modalities, and even just talking to each other from a distance over a fence, keeping that, 12 feet apart from each other. From balcony to balcony, as they were doing in Italy when the pandemic first started, we would see the people visiting with their neighbors on their balconies. And I remember seeing people sitting 20 to 25 feet apart from each other in parks and just having a conversation. They had to speak a little louder, didn't quite have the intimacy, but they made it possible. There was the creativity out there to make it possible to meet the need for our connection with each other. And our own creative aspects of our human nature allowed us to find a way when it didn't seem a way was possible. And because the world was moving at a slower pace during this time, people found ways to engage in creativity that they never took the time to do before. I enjoyed so much seeing on Facebook the pictures of people recreating masterpieces of art in their own homes out of the supplies they had on hand, turbans and toilet paper and scepters with kitchen spoons and things like that. It was fascinating to watch that. And I loved to watch the families getting together to sing songs and then putting that out on Facebook. It was really quite amazing to see the creativity coming through for people during this time of trauma. I loved watching people who could cook a fabulous meal with just the ingredients that they had on hand, something that was available to them. Really, really sparking their creativity and their cooking skills. And it was really interesting to see what kind of craft supplies that were no longer available because everyone was trying their hand at them. The sewing, the knitting, the crocheting, and all of the other different crafts. I myself had thought I might get back into quilting. I used to quilt years ago and had given away my sewing machine. But I went to buy a new sewing machine and found out that they were not going to be available for over 4 months because every single sewing machine had been bought. I couldn't even find an expensive one to buy. So it was quite amazing to watch what was popular and what wasn't popular. And I guess I wasn't the only one who thought it was a good time to take up sewing and crafting because things were just going off the shelves like crazy or out of Amazon. You couldn't even buy them there. And I also marveled at the way that people and communities came together to support each other. At the start of the pandemic, I was living in St. George, Utah. And within days of the lockdown, a Facebook group popped up that was set up to share resources. So people with extra toilet paper or paper towels were posting it there. And they were bartering or giving it away, depending on what the other person's needs were. There were people who needed things and they were asking for them, like somebody needed baby formula and they were sending out a request for that. All different kinds of supplies were being advertised and traded on this Facebook page as people were going through this time. Then they found ways to safely get them to each other. But what was so cool about it was that the supplies were actually getting to the people who needed them right then and right then. So now we're pretty much on the other side of this pandemic, and we're now looking at how to be in this, now that this imminent threat has dissipated somewhat. I hear people say, I just can't wait to get back to normal. I just can't wait for things to get back to normal. I'm not really sure we're ever going to get back to normal because I'm not sure what normal actually is. I suppose there are people who can recreate the life they had before the pandemic and make it work in their life now and feel like they have some semblance of normal with them. But my guess is that there are a lot of people who, after living through this 3-year experience, have decided that the world prior to the pandemic really didn't work for them the way it was. We hear phrases on the news and in the media that we read about the workforce, things like the Great Resignation or quietly quitting, and which are both indications that the way people lived their lives prior to the pandemic are no longer satisfactory for whatever reason. They are no longer satisfied trading their life energy in the form of work for things that don't fulfill them. And so again, this great resignation, this quietly quitting, these are definite signs that people are not wanting to go back to normal, go back to the way things were, because the way things weren't really working for them. And it took the break from that to really see that that's what was happening. And I'm sure that, 10 years from now, the people who study such things will have all kinds of interesting reasons for it. It'll be fascinating to see what our world becomes in 10 years because of what we've experienced for the last 3. In his book, Surviving Storms, author Mark Nepo says that when we are in a situation where things have broken down, there are always 3 questions that we are called to ask ourselves. What needs to be repaired? What needs to be reimagined? And what needs to be left dismantled? I think that in asking these questions and then looking at a creative solution to the situation, to what comes through when we ask the question, we can begin to get clear about where our work is. When something breaks down, it is our human nature to instantly want to repair it. I think it seems easier to want to fix something than it is to let it remain broken and try to find a new solution. I remember how it was and feeling comfortable with the familiarity of it, and we want to keep that. We remember that comfortable feeling, that our knowledge of how things were brought to us. And so when it's broken, we want to get that feeling back instead of trying to create a new way of doing it, because that's unknown. You know, it can be very scary finding new ways of doing things that we are familiar with. To reimagine how things should work, how life should flow, and how I'll get my needs met takes us into the unknown. And unless we're open to using our innate creativity to find unique solutions, then the fear can be overwhelming. And it's even scarier than that to reimagine what can be is the idea of leaving something dismantled, never to be that way again. That can be quite frightening. You know, the what ifs take hold and they run rampant in our thoughts until we begin to imagine all kinds of awful scenarios in which things are going to happen because we've left this thing broken and we're not fixing it and it's not going to be the same way that it was. And it just begins this whole cycle of fear. So many things in our world right now feel like they've been turned upside down, that they've been broken, or maybe even that they've been taken away from us. We are in a period of time in our world where there are so many things still unknown. You know, it's not the first time we've been here, but I think it's probably the first time that the entire world was aware of it and affected by it to this great degree. You know, in the Middle Ages, we had a plague that killed 30 to 50% of the entire population of Europe. And then in my grandparents' early years, the Spanish influenza killed about 500 million people, or 1/3 of the world's population at that time. Or they not necessarily killed, but they certainly became infected by the virus. 1/3 of the world's population was affected by the Spanish influenza. By contrast, it was about 700 million people in the world that have been diagnosed with COVID-19 in 2020 and 2021. That's only about 10% of the world's population. Big difference from what happened with the Spanish influenza. But we knew about it. The entire world knew about it. They didn't know about it all so much with Spanish influenza because the technology wasn't there to communicate it. And as we know that with our experience of COVID-19, even if you didn't become ill with the disease, you certainly were affected by it. Our world has been shaken, and it's time for us to find creative solutions to how we move forth from its effect. We have a grand opportunity right now to begin to create a world that works better for everyone. Mark Nepo says this in his book, "At least once in every generation or two, humanity remakes itself, such as we are right now. And such a remaking is both profound and painful." You know, one of the things I love most about our philosophy and our spiritual practices that we have here at Centers for Spiritual Living is that they encourage us to experiment. And being a former science teacher, I can really get into that. I love to take a challenge, to take a problem, and look at it from the point of view of, what if I tried to do it this way? What if I chose this solution instead of going right to my old way of handling things? To use Mark Nepo's term, what if I reimagined a new solution? What might my experience be then? Now this gets my creative juices flowing. This puts me into the flow of divine possibility that is always wanting to express itself. You know, within the grand scheme of life, infinite possibilities exist. So why do I feel the need to keep trying to do things the same old way and getting the same results? Each one of us has an opportunity as we move into the next months and the next years of our life here on earth to look at the ways that we can create a world that not only works for us, but is also a benefit and a blessing to others around us, a benefit and a blessing to our community, to our connection in the world. We are not created in isolation, and we are not meant to live in isolation. So why do we think our solution should only be for ourselves? Mark Nepo puts it this way: we are called to recreate the universe by choosing love over fear, by choosing interdependence over self-interest, by choosing care over brutality. And so ultimately, everything we do matters. This is a grand opportunity to experiment and to see what kind of a world we can create. The old world worked well for some people, better for others, and worse for some. But everything that we do matters, and everything that we do is leading to creating the next experience of this world. What if we could balance that out so that each and every being on earth, not just the human beings, but every being, is living its life to its full potential, reveling in those infinite possibilities that exist as a unique incarnation of the divine in this time, in this space. This is our world work, and this is why we've come here to earth. So let's take this into prayer, into our spiritual mind treatment, where we acknowledge the presence of the divine, we unify ourselves with it, we speak words of truth, we give thanks, and we let it go. So if you would with me, turn within. I do this by closing my eyes and focusing on my breath. And from this place of centered connection, I know that there is only one thing happening, and that is the action and the activity of that universal, creative love intelligence that has brought forth everything into existence, that is the substance and the fullness and the allness of all creation. I know that nothing exists outside of this one. I know that this one shows up as unconditional love, as perfect peace, as divine right, order, and harmony. I know that this infinite intelligence is fully manifesting itself in, through, and as all creation. I know that each and every one of us is one with it. And therefore I know that I am one with it. That all that universal love intelligence is resides right at the heart of my being. And because I know this is true for me, I know this is true for everyone. That each one of us is that perfect emanation of the divine spirit right here and right now. And I know that each one of us is that presence of love and peace. And I know that divine right order is flowing through each and every one of us right here and right now. And so knowing this, I speak my word of truth. I know that each one of us is a creative outlet for the expression of the divine, that each one of us exists in infinite possibilities, and that those possibilities are welling up within us and pouring forth from us in all that we are and all that we do. I know that each one of us here is a gift, a benefit, and a blessing to our entire world. And I know that as we experience this connectedness, this universal flow of infinite possibility moving through us, then magnificent things are pouring forth from us in the most amazing ways. I see this happening in our community. I see it happening in the lives of the people around me, and I know that this is the truth of our being. And so I just give great thanks for this knowing. I'm so grateful to feel it, to see it in action, to know it is happening right here and right now. And I release this word into that law that always says yes, knows no lack or limitation, and is constantly unfolding itself in perfection and wholeness. I let it be and I let it go. And so it is. Amen.
Here at Center for Spiritual Living Greater Las Vegas, we are a mission and vision-driven community. We offer transformative educational opportunities, deep and meaningful moments of connection, uplifting Wednesday and Sunday services. We greatly appreciate your contributions that support the amazing work we're doing here in Southern Nevada. We have several easy ways you can contribute. We have text to give. Simply text the amount of your donation to our text to give number, and you'll be prompted to enter your information. There's a link
to our online donation page posted below this video, where you can contribute by debit or credit card. And of course, you're always welcome to send a check to our office if that works better for you. All of your contributions go to support the great work that we're doing here in Greater Las Vegas community.
In my own little world, it hardly ever rains. I've never gone hungry and I've always felt safe. Got money in my pocket, shoes on my feet. In my own little world, it's population need. I try to stay awake through the Sunday morning church. Though it's money on the plate, but I don't give till it hurts. And I turn off the news if I don't like what I see. Yeah, it's easy to do when it's population need. But what if there's a greater purpose? What if I'm missing out? What if there's a bigger picture I could be living right now? My own little world. Ooh. Stopped at a red light, looked out my window. Saw a cardboard sign saying help this homeless widow. And just above that I saw the face of a human. Thought to myself, God, what have I been doing? So I rolled down the window and I looked her in the eyes. Oh, how many times have I just driven by? I gave her some money and I took off through. In my own little world is population too. Whoa, what if there's a bigger picture? What if I'm missing out? What if there's a greater purpose I could be living right now? My own little world. My own little world. Whoa. My heart for what breaks yours. Give me open hands and open doors. Put your light in my eyes to help me see that my own little world is not about me. Cause what if there's a bigger picture? What if I'm missing out? What if there's a greater purpose I could be living right now? I don't wanna miss what matters. I wanna be reaching out. Tell me there's a greater purpose so I can start living right now. My own little world. My own little world. Ooh. My own little world.
Today's music made you smile or get up and dance. Show our musical guests some appreciation in the comments. And we want to let you know that your contributions are so significant to us. We could not do what we do each week without your love and support. Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas, continues to provide enriching services transformative classes, and powerful opportunities for connection within our community. Be sure to watch the announcements at the end of today's service for what's coming up in the weeks ahead. Now, let's join together in a closing song before our benediction.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. We are the hearts, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world, a blessing to the world. We're a blessing to the world.
Okay, so as we wrap up this morning, I just have a couple of brief announcements. Right after service, starting at 11:30, promptly at 11:30, will be our annual meeting. The Zoom room opens at 11 o'clock. You can join earlier if you'd like. That way we can get everybody right there to start right as soon as the time begins at 11:30. So this is a chance for you to get an update on what's happening in our community and just hear some about some of the exciting things that we have going on. Also, don't forget, our next week is our in-person service starting at 9:30 for the meditation, 10 o'clock for the service at the Las Vegas Meadows 55 Plus community on Valley View Boulevard near Sahara. We are so excited to be able to be back in person. As of right now, we are scheduling all of our future services in person here at this community until we can get into our new building that we've purchased. And I also want to invite you to tune in to Keeping It Real on Thursday mornings. The next one will be March 1st at 9 a.m. This is a chance that you have to take a look at what I'm talking about, these principles and such that I'm talking about on Sundays, and take a little bit deeper dive into them. Starting in March, we're going to be focusing on joy, so we're going to have some wonderful practices to help you bring more joy into your life in different ways. Have a beautiful and blessed week, and we will see you all March 5th at our new location. Bye-bye, everyone.
The monthly publication, Science of Mind magazine, is a treasure to be read and contemplated. Along with in-depth articles, there is a day-to-day spiritual support to be gleaned from its daily guides. Licensed practitioner Lynn Frankenberger hosts Adventures in Faith on Zoom, and you're invited to join in. This is a weekly group discussion that focuses on those daily guides and how to apply them. Check Facebook and our weekly newsletter for more details.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. Keeping it real, keeping it real. Keeping it real with Reverend Laura. Keeping it real, keeping it real. Keeping it real, keeping it real. Keeping it real with Reverend Laura.
CSL Greater Las Vegas brings you much of your favorite spiritual music every Friday at 7 p.m. with Spiritual Soundscapes. Enjoy performances from CSLGLV vocalists along with special guest singers. It's music for your soul. Subscribe to the CSLGLV YouTube channel to get a convenient link sent to you for each musical performance. At CSL Greater Las Vegas, it is our mission to inspire spiritual discovery through community connection, exploration, and celebration. This mission supports the all-inclusive vision of Centers for Spiritual Living worldwide, in which we envision a world that works for everyone and all of creation.